And welcome to another portion of the 2015 scavenger hunt from Skinslip. This is part 4, and if you've been following along, you know that I will post a link to the original contest entry video down below in the doobly-doo. There you will find links to Skinslip's channel as well as the contest video and any of my 10 additional video responses, links to those, as well as the playlist that I'm creating of those. So, getting on, what is part 4? Well, part 4, I had to pick a movie with a film with a killer vehicle. And I'll put killer in quotation marks there because the killer, the way he defined it, involved two aspects. One would be like a vehicle that kills. I'm sure most people, if they do any video, they're gonna, their choices are gonna be something like Maximum Overdrive or The Car, something along Christine, maybe something along those lines. The other way he described killer, you could use it, would be as if, it had a really cool vehicle. The vehicle was killer, man. So if you're into, say, I guess, really into, muscle cars, you might pick the Fast and the Furious movie or something like that, or if you really like the Mini, you might pick the Italian Job. If you like the original, if you like the old Mini Coopers, if you like the new Mini Coopers, then you might pick the remake. But I decided to go with a film that sort of the vehicle did both things. Not only was it really cool, at least in my mind, but and I'm getting people bunging my Facebook here. But the vehicle could kill at the same time, and that film, if you watched my original, you already know what it is Damnation Alley. The film is from 1977, the year I was born, so it's awesome. Obviously, it was directed by Jack Smite. I doubt you know who he is, really. I mean, he's not a name that today's audiences really get behind. Trying to think what else he's done. I don't know. He's been in the business for quite a while. Did a bunch of television shows and stuff like that. Oh, excuse me. Actually, a lot of television. But when it comes to films and such, he did Airport 1975, if you know that one. Battle of Midway was the one he did right before Damnation Alley. So you might know that one. But yeah, that's, I'm trying to think. Number One with a Bullet. I think there's really, he's not the most I wouldn't call him the most well-known person for sure. In terms of people in the film, it doesn't have a very diverse or large cast. It's a very small cast, actually. But in it is John Michael Vincent, the man with essentially, call him the man with 3 first names is how he's often credited. Most people will know him from Airwolf. He was the pilot to Airwolf. He was also in like The Mechanic and Escape to Grizzly Mountain. I don't know, a lot of sort of like action film type stuff. Extra 2, if you know that one, he was in that one. Alienator, Enemy Territory, Hit List. Like there's Dirty Games was another one. He was in a whole bunch of, obviously Airwolf kind of really propelled his career into that area. The one that really sits for me is probably the film that I think is probably, to me, it's the scariest film I've ever seen. And that is Shadow of the Hawk. Love that movie. Only available on Burn on Demand, unfortunately. DVD is the only way you can get it. I was really hoping, you know, it'd come out from that, but yeah, not so much. The other person in this film that you would know would be George Peppard, who is the man, the legend from A-Team. He is John Hannibal Smith. Not to mention a slew of other things like the Blue Max, which I believe this is only available right now on Blu-ray from Twilight Time. I could be wrong. He was in Breakfast at Tiffany's and such. Banachek, if you ever watched that television show, he's Thomas Banachek. But yeah, those are essentially the two main characters. There's a few other people that show up in the movie, which is, yeah, it's, how would you describe Damnation Alley? I would call Damnation Alley to be a film that psychedelic sci-fi is, I guess, is how I would do it. Essentially, the film opens with World War III. It's sort of opens on a missile base of sorts, and they start getting, I guess, radar reports or whatever. Missiles are coming in, so they turn their keys, out go the missiles, and essentially the world is destroyed. This is, I guess, it's a post-apocalyptic film, right? Like, that's the only way to really describe it. The bombs went off, everything went to hell, and this is the aftermath. There's this actual, I guess, opening, after the opening volley of missiles and such, it comes and shows you the new world, and it has this sort of, I'm amazed it didn't have a voiceover. It should have had a voiceover, honestly, but it had this, title cards that said, "The Third World War left the planet shrouded in a pall of radioactive dust, under skies lurid and angry, in a climate gone insane." And this explains essentially why there's some really, really crazy effects going on for the sky in this film. It then continues on by saying, what did it say? Tilted on its axis as a result of the nuclear holocaust, the Earth lived through a reign of terror with storms and floods of unprecedented severity. So essentially, nuclear bombs go off, Earth tilts, we have global catastrophe in terms of weather and natural disasters and such. And then it finally gets to a third portion. When this epoch began to wind down, the remnants of life once more ventured forth to commence the struggle for survival and dominance. And then it sort of keys in to the same missile base and the survivors underground and what happens, and then I won't spoiler, I will not give you what happens at this missile base, but something happens to force essentially people to go off and take the Landmaster and try and get to another colony that they've gotten radio transmissions from. And so to get there, they have to go through Damnation Alley, which is some weird thing. So what we got with Damnation Alley, with the sci-fi aspects, of course, it's post-apocalyptic. We get giant scorpions, man-eating cockroaches, radioactive wasteland scavengers, and radiation over, like a radiation belt. And so, you know, it's essentially, it's just their journey trying to get there. Standard sort of adventure quest type film, right? You run into a few struggles, you know, fights, sequences, whatever you want to call it, and such. So it's yeah, it's a cool film. It's not I wouldn't say everybody loves it, but I really enjoy it. One of the things I love about this film is the effects. Not only, you know, do you have the Landmaster vehicle, you've got some, you know, there's just all sorts of crazy effects. The biggest one that most people think, and why I call it a psychedelic sci-fi, is the sky. They do some really cool effects with, you know, just the sky. They use a lot of matte work and just, oh, it's very psychedelic, very trippy and crazy, and, you know, I guess that's the radioactive weird atmosphere thing that they're talking about. But yeah, that's honestly, I think this film was almost created for solely to show off this cool effect that somebody came up with, and he was like, oh, I gotta write a movie where I can make this effect happen. Yeah, so honestly, one of the cool things, like I said, it's about the vehicle, is the Landmaster. Now, they actually made the Landmaster. They made one Landmaster, though you do see two in the film. That's due, you know, there was only ever one created. That was, you know, miniatures and you know, camera effects and stuff like that. The Landmaster, it's a unique, absolute. There's only one of a kind. It's amphibious. It's got articulated wheels. It was created by a Dean Jeffries at Jeffries Automotive in Universal City, California. It was essentially, I think they said it cost about I don't know, there's a few numbers I found, 300,000 to 350, you know, thousand to build this vehicle, which, if you, I guess you convert it to today, would probably be like 1.6 million dollars to build that. Yeah, so it's actually really cool. It's got I'll show you a picture. It's got a 3-star wheel system, which was invented by Lockheed. The chassis forms 2 like flotation tanks, which essentially gives it, you know, that amphibious portion. The engine apparently was a Ford 390 industrial gasoline motor. Yeah, it does 60 kilometers on the road. The middle portion of it is sort of made out of some kind of a rubber type substance, so it's almost like it's you know, picture a picture a sort of like a tractor trailer with a small trailer on the back. So you know, it pivots a little bit, so there's this thing, but it looks like it's all one full solid vehicle, but that allows it to sort of bend and such. It has 12 wheels, and all 12 wheels are driven via the transmission, but because with the configuration and only 2 of the 3 wheels in each hub are touching the ground at any one point in time, it's considered only an 8-wheel drive vehicle. Yeah, it was fully functioning. It's been restored, I believe. Somebody out there restored it from the movie. But yeah, it's so constantly, and the wheels, the shafts of the wheels actually turn, so it can go over like trees and such like that. So it's actually a pretty cool, like, that's why I picked it. It's an awesome vehicle. In the movie, it's got machine guns. The machine guns were never used. I don't think so. Can't remember. But they had rocket launchers, and the rocket launchers, they blow some stuff up. They blow some people up. They just blow stuff up. That's what you do with rockets, right? Yeah, it's I don't know. The movie is interesting. I don't think it's everybody's cup of tea, but if you're into, if the idea of a sci-fi quest film and a journey film interests you, it's worth checking out. I'd say it's, if you like the original Star Trek and the look of the original series of Star Trek, then I think Damnation Alley falls into something like that. You know, when they go to a planet side and visit stuff, that's kind of look and feel of Damnation Alley. Despite the fact that they created this awesome vehicle, and then, you know, obviously did all these other effects. It's yeah, that would honestly, it's about the vehicle. The whole movie is about the vehicle, and the sky, the awesome looking sky. So if the idea of a psychedelic sky over top of this bad boy interests you at all, go check it out. Again, more videos to come in Skinslip's 2015 scavenger hunt, but this one is done. So, ending my review of Damnation Alley. Till next video. Take care. Have a good one.